Hey songwriters, this is Ari Koinuma, and today we're going to analyze Pet Shop Boys' Love etc. Relatively recent hit. That's a nice, buoyant pop song. And see what kind of songwriting wisdom we can find in this hit song. So I'm gonna start out as usual playing the verse melody on my guitar. It goes something like this. Alright, so that's how the verse starts. What can we figure out about this melody, right? What we can tell here is that there's a very distinct rhythmic motif. Da 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 da. You see? That rhythmic motif is what drives, or what really makes this melody interesting. Note-wise, it's just a straight D minor F major type scale, just going up and down. There's not particularly anything that really stands out, but again, what really sort of anchors this melody and keeps you listening is that rhythmic motif. Now, rhythm in melody is a very, very important element. You think of it's easy to think of melody as just a bunch of notes going up and down, but really what makes a melody often is the rhythm of that melody, and to have a sort of a streamlined or cohesive melodic motif that's consistent, it's just really distinct, and it just kind of stays in your head when you listen to it, as opposed to some melodies that just have random, no discernible rhythm to it that you can tell. So when you write melodies, just think about how does it stay together rhythmically. I mean, that's really important to keep in mind. So that's point number one. So I'm going to move on to like the next section, which is kind of a chorus. It goes something like this. So what is that in terms of the form or the structure? It is the classic call and response, and I think about call and response often in a song, because it is, if you look at what each part is doing, like the chorus guys are just going, it's just one note, right? Each part is so simple, but just having a call and response, it just creates all of a sudden such an interest. You just kind of go, oh yeah, I mean that back and forth, it's just really easy to create something that is worthy to be listened. And when you're sort of singer-songwriter or whatever, and you're just trying to write songs, and it's just really easy to think like, oh, I have to come up with something interesting on my own. Well, no, even when you're writing for one person, it's still possible to incorporate call and response structure, whether it's guitar and your voice, or you sing the both parts or whatever into your song. But it's a classic technique, and it just works a lot of times. So it's just something good to keep in mind. All right, moving on to other sections. The song moves on to something like this. That's a little riff that happens between the first chorus section and then second verse, where we go back to familiar. And that's one section where I don't know what I would call that, but it just kind of throw in there as kind of like an intro or setup for the second verse, and it never returns. And the point I want to make there is that, again, in songwriting, it's so easy to think, oh, I have a verse and I have a chorus, and then I'm going to return to the verse, and I'm going to, just the whole same pattern, same structure all the time. And it's just so good to just play around with that, experiment, see what else you can put into the song, because the last thing we want to do when we want to write a song is to be predictable. And yes, there is a nice dramatic structure that you can you can get out of the familiar structure. But that being said, if you write a song that the audience understands everything about it just by listening to it once, oh yes, it's the verse, it's the chorus, it's the verse, and it's the chorus, I mean, you get tired of that song really fast. And how you create a depth in terms of listening experience is by experimenting and tweaking and just adding bits and pieces that, you know, are a bit surprising, if not downright like, you know, just shocking, jolting. And that's what can sort of take an ordinary song to something that's, you know, less ordinary song. So don't get married to, you know, just doing verse chorus. Just, you know, see what else can fit into your song. You know, you don't want to overwhelm by stuffing too many things, but just, you know, in this song's case, you know, it's just a nice little pop song, you think you can understand it, but no, if you actually take a closer look at it, you know, the reason why it's a good song is because, you know, Pet Shop Boys are songwriters, very mature, very accomplished. They can just, you know, stretch and sort of expand upon what's been traditional on their own, and that's, you know, what, you know, in a subtle way, that's what keeps this song and other songs of theirs from, you know, being just so predictable that, you know, that you just kind of, you know, listen to it once and discard it kind of thing. Alright, so Pet Shop Boys, Love etc. We talked about how the verse melody has a strong rhythmic motif, and that really sort of can anchor melody and keep the audience listening. We talked about the call and response being a classic technique for the chorus, and then we talked about this, like, you know, tiny sort of a bridging section between the first chorus and second verse, and how that just kind of shows up once, and that's a great example of experimenting with the song structure and deviating away or just, you know, stretching the verse chorus sort of predictable structure, so that, you know, there's some surprises for the you know, listener. And these are all good things to keep in mind as we try to write our own songs. So anyway, that's enough for that song. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.